Greetings, everyone. It's your friendly neighborhood PhD once again, Dr. Judd Burton, with another episode of the Beyond Report. And a couple of things on the desk today. We'll start off with relating to you about an article, actually a collection of articles, but mainly just one that I read recently about the excavations at es-Safi, which is believed to be the site of biblical Gath, which was the home base of Goliath from the Old Testament. And it's interesting in that it relates a number of the findings of this season's excavations. But once again, the larger portions of the city, which are I believe the ones that they've recently found were actually part of a necropolis of sorts. And there's some fortifications and things of that nature that are also what they've dubbed large. But it's the typical conventional analysis that these large structures and features may actually describe the origins of the Goliath and by extension the giant hypothesis. Could it simply be that some of the residents of Gath were quite a bit larger than the average human being? And that's why some of these features display such dimensions. There's some interesting connections that they make with of course, the Aegean roots of the Philistines. Gath was a Philistine city. They make references to Mycenae and some of the so-called Cyclopean architecture there that the ancients believed that the giant Cyclops had constructed. But there seems to be no consideration of anything that would tax the conventional wisdom. And I'll put a link to that article in the description if you want to look at it for yourself, but it's kind of interesting. es-Safi has certainly produced some interesting finds, not the least of which is the so-called Goliath shard that actually has Goliath's name on it. Certainly, these bits of evidence taken together aren't necessarily a smoking gun, but they are compelling to a degree. It reminds me of in a way of a piece of pottery that I found in the archaeological museum in Lima, Peru, in which you clearly had a woolly mammoth depicted in this Incan pottery. Now, what in the world were South American natives in the 14th and 15th centuries AD doing depicting people riding a woolly mammoth if they had been extinct for thousands of years by that point? Again, sort of taxes the conventional wisdom with regard to South American archaeology as to whether such megafauna could have existed. But it's the same kind of conundrum you run into in articles such as the one that I've been talking about regarding the excavations at es-Safi. That being said, I certainly wish all the archaeologists and volunteers working at es-Safi the best of luck, because that's an important site in the story of giants. In other news, there's also an article that I posted on my Facebook pages about the Denisovans. The Denisovans were a branch of humans related to the Neanderthals. And most of the specimens that have been found up to this point in Asia, the dental and jaw features point to these individuals being quite what the physical anthropologists would call robust. but in fact they quite probably were larger than hominids at the time, giants, if you will. But again, all of these anomalies of morphology are covered in this article, and yet at the end of the article, they completely dismiss the possibility of the Denisovans being giants as complete fancy. Yeah, certainly there's no other evidence for large hominids in the fossil record. Can we say Gigantopithecus? Yeah. At any rate, I appreciate all the response from the new YouTube channels and the Quick Classics lectures leading up to the ROMA X event. I encourage you to like this channel if you like it, and subscribe to it for new content and updates such as the one you're getting now. In the works is also, in addition to Quick Classics and the the Beyond report, I also have a Sunday School X episode that I'll hopefully be posting later today. Now, with regard to the ROMA X event, this of course is going to be the history of the supernatural. It'll deal with a lot of paranormal topics relating to Roman history, and that's part of the reason that I gave the brief lectures on early Rome, the Roman Republic, and the Roman Empire, so that I wouldn't tread back over some of that material in the ROMA X event. But I'll have all the details ready for the page, the actual website page for that, and it's going to be a lot of fun. It'll be I'm going to be very conversational about it. I'm also going to be giving away a free ebook for those that purchase tickets, and there'll be a raffle for a couple of books to be given away. So it's going to be a lot of fun. If you're interested in Roman history and ancient mysteries and the paranormal, I think you'll enjoy this quite a bit. It's been a lot of fun getting ready for it, and I'm really excited about it. Now, another thing that I wanted to talk about was a review of the recent Dark Crystal: The Age of Resistance series that came on Netflix. I'm a big sci-fi fantasy buff, and like many people in my generation, we grew up with the movie The Dark Crystal. And of course, the premise behind that is that there are two races, an evil race, the Skeksis, and the good Ur-Skeks. The Skeksis are in control of this planet. You can look it up online and get an idea of what the series, or excuse me, what the movie's about. The series is actually a prequel, and it was really interesting. It was really entertaining. There are times where I felt like I was 7 years old again watching this thing. Lots of interesting voice talent too, including Simon Pegg as the Chamberlain. And in my opinion, the guy who really steals the show is Mark Hamill as the voice of the scientist Skeksis. At any rate, it was a very enjoyable thing. There's a little bit of politicizing of the characters and the culture within the Dark Crystal. If you can get past that, then it's a pretty interesting story. Now, of course, I can enjoy it on one level, but I also look at it through the biblical lens. And if you do that, you can clearly see that this is on a cosmic scale, not just a planetary scale, that it's good versus evil. However, it's very clear that the Skeksis and their predecessors, the Ur-Skeks, are the sort of analogs for the Watchers and the Nephilim giants and Chimera that come after them. So if you look at it in that context, it makes you wonder about some of reasoning behind it, or some of the messages that have been put into it. But on the other level, it's an interesting story. It's a fun story. Um, but I would watch it with a cautious eye if you're interested in looking at things through the biblical lens. Um, Pop culture is a pretty good way to get your finger on the pulse beat of some of those darker things that you find in entertainment. So watch it with a discerning eye. I would recommend it on those grounds. And that's it for this episode of the Beyond Report. Just stay tuned. I should have another one in about a week, and we'll see you the next time. Godspeed.